integral quantities which depends on the size of the system, whereas intensity quantities are point function which do not vary with the size of the system. So for this particular derivation, we consider a system of fluid and also a control volume, which are almost equal and having a very slight infinitesimal difference. The control volume and system has got a small, slight infinitesimal difference that gives the difference tending to zero. So at time t. So this is at time t. You can see that the red boundary corresponds to a control volume, and the green boundary or blue boundary corresponds to the system. This is the system. And the difference between system and control volume is can be denoted by this area in 1. And we are now looking at the change during a time step delta t seconds. That is, as time changes from t to t plus delta t, the control volume remains at the same location, whereas the system is in motion. So the system changes a bit, and also will have is having an infinitesimal difference with the control volume that is denoted by the region, shaded region denoted as 2. So that way we can write the system at time t is equal to the control volume at t plus the fluid in the region marked as 1. System at t plus delta t is control volume at t plus delta t plus what is it? 2. And the rate of change of extensive property B. Let B be an extensive property of the fluid system, which can be mass, momentum, energy, like that. So dV by dt of the system is equal to the extensive property of the system at t plus delta t minus extensive property of the system at t divided by delta t to the limit delta t tending to 0. And for B of the system at t plus delta t, we can take this expression. Similarly, B of the system at t, we take this expression. Substituting that, you will get B of control volume at t plus delta t minus B of control volume at t divided by delta t to the limit delta t tending to 0 plus B of the region 2 minus B of the region 1 divided by delta t. This is also delta t tending to 0. So that way we write dV by dt of the system equal to dV by dt of the control volume plus rate of net extensive property leaving the surface. Actually V2 minus V1, if you look at V2 minus V1, so this much extensive property 2 has left the control volume. At the same time, this much extensive property in 1 has entered the system. So V2 minus V1 is what is V2 minus V1 is the net extensive property left the system. And divided by delta t, it becomes rate of. So the term is rate of net extensive property leaving the surface of the control volume. So this expression is rewritten here. So dV by dt of the system is equal to dV by dt of the control volume plus rate of net extensive property leaving the surface of the control volume. And you know, the extensive property is the integral value of the corresponding intensive property volume integral. So extensive property is volume integral of the corresponding intensity property. So BCV is equal to integral over the control volume BdV. Rate of net extensive property leaving the control volume surface. So the same control volume is drawn here. So what is the net extensive property leaving the control volume? So extensive property is moving out of the control volume because of the normal component of velocity. So there is a velocity at any point on the boundary. There is a velocity at any point on the boundary. This normal component of velocity denoted by u dot n. U dot n, normal component of velocity, causes the extensive property to be taken out of the control. So u dot n gives that. So we take a small surface area ds. So u dot n into ds gives that is the velocity in the area gives the volume flow rate. Volume rate volume by time. Volume rate. And intensity property multiplied by volume gives the extensive property, and divided by time, that rate is there. So rate of net extensive property leaving the control volume surface is integral b u dot n ds. This is integration over the control volume surface. So this B of control volume and the rate of net extensive property leaving the control volume surface are substituted to get dV by dt of the system is equal to d by dt of B of control volume. This is B of control volume. So d by dt of integral over the control volume B dV plus this term. Right. And this derivative is outside the integral and the control volume is fixed. The control volume is not changing with time. So you can apply now Leibniz theorem. Leibniz theorem. Leibniz theorem. To change the order of integration and differentiation. So here integration is done first and differentiation is done second. So let us take the integral outside and differentiation is put inside. So when you apply Leibniz theorem, it becomes integral outside over the control volume for a control volume not changing with time. That is fixed the control volume, not a moving control volume. This becomes d by dt becomes dou by dou t, because v is a function of point function of space and time, and this derivative is with respect to time at a particular point. At a particular point, the volume integrand is taken for a particular point. So the derivative becomes dou b by dou t. So since the point around which a small volume dv is taken, is this point is fixed, so x is fixed, and you are taking the derivative with respect to time, becomes dou b by dou t plus integral over the surface d u dot n ds. So this is what is Reynolds transport theorem. So we can rewrite it like this. So the equation 1 here, the equation 1 here, equation 1. This is another color. Equation 1 is the Reynolds transport theorem. Okay. So dV by dt of fluid system, which is close to a control volume, which is very much close to the in size as that of a control volume, can be related like this. which is having some infinitesimal variation taking place during a delta t time. So the dv by dt of the system can be written like this. So this is what is called a Reynolds transport theorem. And continuity equation in fluid mechanics, we call continuity equation, that is the equation of conservation of the extensive property named as mass. So to derive that, you take B is equal to M, and small b is the intensity property, which is delta M by delta V, where delta M is the mass of a small volume divided by its volume. That you know the density. Density is a function of x and it could be a function of time. In the general case, wherein the fluid is compressible, in incompressible flow, the density it does not vary with the x or does not vary with time. So density is a constant point, constant function in space in the case of incompressible flow. Whereas compressible flow, in general, as a general case, if you are writing, rho is a function of the space, point, and time. So when you put dm by dt is equal to 0. Okay, system is equal to 0. This is called the law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass gives dm by dt equal to 0. So integral over the control volume dou rho by dou t into dv plus integral over the control volume surface rho u dot n ds over the surface, this becomes equal to 0. And incompressible flow, rho is constant. So dou by dou t is constant. And rho is spatially constant. So rho can be taken outside. And the rho into integral u dot n ds equal to 0. So rho into u dot n ds is equal to 0. And since the rho cannot be equal to 0, this has to be equal to 0. So you get this equation u dot n ds is equal to 0. This is for incompressible flow. Okay. So now let us apply this equation for flow through a diverging passage. The continuity equation for flow through a diverging passage. This is an equation you studied. This is a derivation you studied in the elementary fluid mechanics of third semester. So you are having a diverging passage. So this is a wall, this is a wall, this is a wall, this is a wall, boundary. Integral over the controlling surface as this portion, a wall, and there you know u dot n equal to 0. Here also u dot n equal to 0. And there is an inlet, and the outward normal is like this, and this is the outlet, and outward normal is like this, right? And the area normal to this outward normal, or area, this area is, let us mark this area as A2 and this area as A1, right? And the normal velocity, normal component of velocity, u dot n is equal to u2, and u dot n is equal to, so here u dot n will become equal to, okay, let us take u dot n is equal to u1. u1. So, so that is u1 is what is the flow going out? What is the flow going out? So the flow going out is u1. Flow going out is u1 from a1. Flow going out from, but in the actual case, what is actually happening? This flow is coming inside the pipe. Here, flow is going outside the pipe. So this what is the flow velocity of fluid coming inside will be is taken as u1, then this u dot n will become equal to minus u1. Minus u1. It is minus u1. Okay. Now our Reynolds transport theorem simplified to continuity equation is like this. For incompressible flow, it is like this. That is equation 3. So if you use equation 3, so this the entire surface has got different discrete parts. One is the inlet, one is this wall, this outlet, and this wall. So the integration can be replaced by summation on these boundary walls. So here it will become, this area is A1. So this u dot n is minus u1. This ds is area A1, and here nothing is there. Plus when it comes here, it is u2, A2, and here nothing is there. This becomes 0. So A1 U1 is equal to A2 U2. This is the continuity equation which you studied in the elementary classes of fluid mechanics. So you have worked out problems also. So this is a simplification. This is actually an integral form. So integral conservation. It is actually integral conservation. It is an integral conservation. Of mass. We call it as continuity equation. So this is applicable for a converging diverging passage as a whole. We are looking at it as a whole and seeing what is the continuity, right? So the continuity equation can also be derived for each and every point. So when you derive the continuity equation for each and every point, so equations applicable for points in space of field problems are differential equations. So you will get differential equation. When you convert this integral form into differential form, you will get what is called a differential equation. So for that, let us again take the case of the case of incompressible flow. That means the same equation. Let us take the same equation. So let us take the same equation. So what is the assumption in this equation is this is incompressible. Okay. So it is incompressible over the surface, right? So this is a surface integral. In calculus, in vector calculus, there is a theorem called Gauss divergence theorem. Gauss divergence theorem. So this theorem is applicable for any vector field. Suppose you have a vector field. An example is the velocity vector. So a vector field in a region or in a defined in a volume with a boundary. So here the control volume, right, is there. Then integral over the control volume, del dot u dv is equal to integral over the control volume surface u dot n ds. So this incompressible continuity equation in integral form we are having on the right hand side like this. So this means this is equal to 0. That means integral over the control volume del dot u equal to dv equal to 0. So when the surface integral as the overall surface, and when you convert into volume integral, it is integration over the volume. That the integration over all infinitesimal smaller volumes within the control. Right. So this is applicable for any control volume. This is applicable for any control volume, any sized control volume. So this is del dot. This is u is vector del dot u dv, integral over a control volume. So this is applicable for a very small control volume, a very big control volume like that. So when it is a very small control, you apply this equation to a very small control volume, right? Then it is infinitesimally small control volume. What do you mean infinitesimally control volume? That is dv is tending to 0. So then it is as though there are points. So all the points will have some kind of uniqueness or same value for the integrand. If it is an infinitesimally small controller. So del dot u integral over that can be taken outside. So however small this cannot be 0. Right. So del dot you get del dot u equal to 0. So this is called this is actually a differential equation. So what is differential equation? Differential equation is nothing but the integral equation applicable for an infinitesimally small control or a point. So differential equation is an equation applicable for a point, or in other words, we can say that this differential equation is an equation to be satisfied by each and every point in the region through which the fluid is moving, if the flow is incompressible. So you take u is equal to small ui plus small vj plus small wk, where uv and w are the horizontal, vertical and the perpendicular direction components. Here are components, and you know del is the operator I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. Then in the dotting operation, you will get dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y plus dou w by dou z is equal to 0. So this is the three-dimensional continuity equation in differential form applicable for the flow of an incompressible fluid. So the velocity components should satisfy this equation at each and every point. So suppose a velocity field is given, you can do the check. If we check this equation and this equation is not satisfied, then the conclusion is that if it is not satisfied, the conclusion is that it is not an incompressible flow. It does not represent an incompressible flow. Like that, in the university examinations, you can have questions in which a velocity vector is given, and we have to do this simple mathematics to work out and see whether it is a possible velocity of an incompressible flow or not. This is a simple mathematical problem. So you can work out. Now, this is one application of Reynolds transfer theorem to one of the conservation equations, right? So you can apply this to, okay, wherein this equation is obtained by taking the extensive property as mass of the system, right? So now, how do you write the momentum equation? Momentum equation, you can derive the momentum equation. For that, what you have to consider? You have to consider the extensive property V is equal to mass into velocity. Okay. So the corresponding intensity property will be delta m by delta V into U. The delta m by delta V is equal to rho U. You get rho U. So how do you write this equation? So again, we know that dV by dt of the system is equal to integral over the control volume dou B by dou T dV plus integral over the control volume surface du dot n ds is a Reynolds transfer theorem. So this is d by dt of mu of the system and integral over the control volume dou by dou T of rho u dV plus integral over the surface rho u dot n ds. Okay, so u dot n ds. So how do you write the rate of change of moment of the system? To write rate of change of moment of the system on the left hand side, how do you get that? You apply Newton's second law of motion. What is the rate of change of moment of the system? Is equal to the force, the net force acting on the system. So the total force acting on the system. So by you apply Newton's second law and you are able to write this is the force. So you have to find out expression for this. The continuity equation was simple because dm by dt is 0. Whereas you have to now obtain the equation for the force. So you have to analyze what are the forces acting on the fluid system. Then we can write an equation for F for the fluid system. So this is equal to, okay. So this is on the control volume. This is on the control volume surface, right? Okay. So this is on the control volume surface. Now you look at this surface integral, and the velocity vector is there, coming together, right? And in between this, we cannot find a dot or cross. We are having rho u in place of B and u in place of u, and they're together, right? So there is nothing like a dot or cross here, right? So here we cannot have, because B could be scalar, B could be vector. When B is a vector, we find that two vectors are together. What kind of product is? This is a tensor product. So u is a tensor product. Now you can apply dou by dou T of rho u dV plus, can you do what is this? What is that you can do here? You can change the surface integral into a volume integral by applying Gauss divergence here. So what is that? Integral over the control volume del dot whatever this rho u dV, right? So we are simplifying. So we have to simplify further. So these two are again, both are volume integral. So we can combine these integral over control volume dou by dou t of rho u plus the whole into t. Right? So now that this is an integral equation, on the right hand side integral equation, right? The right hand side we are having an integral equation, right? Now, okay, we can keep it like this, and even or you can write it in you can convert this into an infinitesimal control volume also. So the integrand here is this. So if you are applying this to an infinitesimal small control volume, this integrand becomes constant, and you will get dou by dou t. This is there for each and every point into integral over the control volume. So integral over the control volume dv, which is the size of the control volume. Okay, size of the control volume, and you must think that this is an infinitesimally small control volume, very delta v tending to 0, and this can be taken to this side. So force per volume. That is, this is a force acting on an infinitesimal small control volume. Delta V is also an infinitesimal small control volume. So limit delta V tending to 0. So I will write limit now we have to analyze this force acting on the control volume or system. Actually, by doing the derivation of Reynolds transport theorem, we are having a system and control volume which are more or less same, having only infinitesimal difference, right? So during a small time, so it changes a bit, right? So whatever force analysis doing on the system can be changed to the control volume without any difference. So you can apply this force analysis on the control volume, this stationary control volume, and find out an expression for this. So that is the exercise. Once you do that, this momentum equation will be complete. Right? So for that, you have to study what are the forces acting on a fluid system or a fluid control volume. What are the forces acting? Right? And you have studied in last semester. You have studied advanced mechanics of solids, right? There you studied different forces, right? Forces. Right? In solids, we are having strain, right? So because of the strain, there is a stress. Right? In fluid, instead of strain, it is rate of strain. So corresponding rate of strain and the rate of strain, to make a rate of strain, also force is required. So we relate forces with the rate of strain, right? And stresses with the rate of strain in fluid. So there is stress, right? So stress is something surface force. So if you look at a cross section, what is the resisting force per unit area? The force which is the resisting force coming off on the plane per unit area at a particular point. That is defined as stress. So in fluid systems also the same kind of stress is there, but as a consequence of rate of strain. Now it can have a body force because of the weight of the fluid. Right? Surface force, body force. Then, okay, you cannot apply as such. You cannot apply a point concentrated load just you do in the case of structure. structure also point load is actually idealization. You cannot apply a load at a particular point. So actually you may be applying load on a small area. That's not certain load, amount of load. So actually in effect it comes as a surface load only. But surface area is very small, then you call it as point. So here also we consider the surface force and body force. So all those things you have to analyze. Surface force and body force you have to analyze to write the expression on the left hand side. Right? So little bit we have to refresh your fundamentals you studied in the analysis of stress and equilibrium equation in mechanical solid. That can be directly applied here. So, so and you studied this stress tensor. You studied stress tensor, right? So we take traction on three mutually perpendicular planes, right? T n is equal to I, right? This is a traction on a plane with outward normal I, right? And pre-multiply with I plus j vector T n is equal to j, right? Plus k vector T n is equal to k. So this we call it as sigma, right? Sigma. So this kind of a tensor is there in each and every point in the fluid system. So each and every point in the fluid system, this kind of a tensor is available, right? So you can have three coordinate planes mutually perpendicular. There you write the tractions. Tractions is nothing but the resisting force per unit area, right? Then you get what is called the stress at a point. So any point you can write. So suppose this is the control volume. The control volume surface also has points, right? Has points. So each and every point, there is a sigma. There is a sigma, right? Sigma is a tensor, but actually what is the resisting force or stress? Stress, to define stress, you have to define a plane. So Cauchy's equation, right? So suppose you are having a plane with unit normal I. What is the stress on this particular plane at that point? So it is how do you write that? You write it as I dot sigma. I dot sigma. What you will get I dot sigma? You do I dot in this I, you are dotting from left I dot. So this becomes so this becomes so this becomes 0. This becomes 0. So you will get T n is equal to I. Yes. So this is for now I, that is the unit normal is along x direction. So now let us think an arbitrary control volume like this. Arbitrary control volume. So in an arbitrary control volume, you take a surface area. Small surface area you take. Small surface area if you take, it is like a tangent plane. It is like a tangent plane. Now the unit normal is n. It is not I or j or k. So you have n dot sigma is a stress. This is a stress. This stress, right? At this point on this plane into ds is the resisting force in the small ds. You integrate over the surface, you will get the total force, right? So this way any control volume you can do the surface integral n dot sigma ds to get the total force due to the surface force, right? So as far as system is concerned, we have this, right? So it's like that. Okay. And Okay. So now once this is done, right? You have to apply Gauss divergence theorem. So if you are trying to apply Gauss divergence theorem on this, it is not possible because it is n dot sigma. So integral over the surface f dot n ds is what is in Gauss divergence theorem. So dot n has to be on the right. So for that, what we do? We write integral over s sigma transpose dot n ds. Or the transpose, if you do, then you can post multiply with the post dot with n. Right. So this is something which is that, right. Now the Gauss divergence theory you can apply. So this is equal to integral over volume del dot sigma transpose dv. So this is our force. The total force on the system. So this you bring onto the left hand side of this equation. So let us do once again this exercise. Okay. This will bring this one, take this one. That is volume integral. So volume integral, you will write CV. Okay, you will write that. So all volume integral. So left hand side is a volume integral, right hand side also or some of volume integral. So we can directly write the integrands on the left hand side is equal to integrand on the right hand side. So del dot sigma transpose is equal to dou by dou t of rho u plus del dot rho u. Okay. So this is what is called the momentum equation, right? So in which you have on the right hand side things the kinematic quantities, that is rho, sorry, kinematic quantities. So dynamic quantities also there. Okay, that can also that can be just taken out, right? So okay. Okay, that it's not only kinematic quantities, but density is there. But density can be taken to this side. So that way we can make it all the velocity term which is on the right hand side. So that is possible. Or let us forget and let us think that density is also there, right? Okay. After all, the right hand side is in terms of the density of the fluid, which is a fluid property, and velocities. Left hand side we are having some stress that is related to force. Right. So now if we can relate sigma in terms of velocity, somehow if we can connect sigma and velocity, right, then everything will be in terms of fluid property, velocity and density. So in terms of velocity, if we can write, right? So for that we have to define what is a strain rate. You define strain rate, and then relation between strain rate and stress and strain rate, It is possible to relate stress and strain rate. Strain rate is actually velocity gradient. Velocity gradient. Velocity gradient is strain rate, right? So what is the unit you will get? Velocity gradient meter per second divided by gradient means 1 by meter. So 1 by second. So that is why strain rate, it becomes strain rate. In solid, this rate will not be there. So you have the unit of one, it is stress. So you have studied stress strain relations in mechanics of solids, whereas in fluid mechanics you study stress and strain rate equation, right? So you know one of the important theorems in fluid mechanics that is giving the stress and strain rate, the shear stress is proportional to rate of shear strain. What is the law? The name of the law? It is Newton's law of viscosity. Newton's law of viscosity. So you studied Newton's law of viscosity for a simple flow in which the flow is in one direction, unidirectional, right? So how you have studied Newton's law of viscosity in elementary fluid mechanics? There is a wall. So there's a fluid, flowing, right? So as far as fluid is concerned, the fluid particle on the wall will not be moving. So the fluid particle all sitting on the wall will have a velocity u equal to 0. Okay, here u is what is the x component of velocity u, and u is equal to 0. And there is no transverse velocities also, right? So this is called a no-slip condition. If the solid is not moving, the fluid particle sitting on the fluid is also not moving, right? And we apply, so to have a fluid motion with a velocity u, to have a fluid motion with a velocity, okay, not vector will not write because that is only one direction. Let us write u. In the x direction, I want to make the upper layers move with the velocity u, right? So how is it possible? You have to apply some force, tangential force, some tangential force you have to give, right? Some tangential force, right? And the tangential force per area, more area is there, you will be applying more tangential force. If small area is there, you will be applying your palm. You can just use your palm, right, to apply force. So force by area is this is called shear stress, denoted as tau. And what is Newton's law of viscosity states? This is proportional to the velocity gradient. Velocity gradient is du by dy. Du by dy. Right. Du by dy. So and this proportionality constant is defined as the coefficient of dynamic viscosity. Coefficient of dynamic viscosity. What is this? Is called the coefficient of dynamic viscosity. Why? It is a dynamic viscosity. This is Newton per meter squared. This is 1 by second. So mu has a unit of Newton second per meter squared. So it's a dynamic quantity. Okay. So unit. So this is what is called Newton's law of viscosity. Now you know we are writing the equation for a three-dimensional flow where three components of velocities are there. There is going to be strain rate. Strain rate. How do you write strain rate in this three-dimensional flow? So gradient. Right. You apply vector differential operator. Vector differential operator del. This is a vector differential operator del. Del is I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. Okay, so this is that unit vectors, right? So del del u is called velocity gradient. This is a very important thing in fluid mechanics. So if del u is equal to 0, the flow will be very, very simple. So all the fluid in fluid structures, turbulence, etc., all pass due to this velocity gradient. So this is very, very important. So this is a tensor quantity. You will know it is a tensor quantity. In Cartesian tensor form you can write. We derived the Cartesian tensor form del u we derived, right? You will get into a matrix form, right? So what is that you got? Del u expression you got. Del u expression. Yes. So II products will come. So we know that. So we have also wrote the expression for this matrix expression we wrote. We got dou u by dou x, dou u by dou y, dou u by dou z, dou v by dou x, v by dou x. Dou v by dou y, dou v by dou z, dou w by dou x, dou w by dou y, dou w by dou z. This we can write as also compact form dou ui by dou x. Dou ui by dou x. And I is equal to 1 for the first form. I is equal to 1 for the first form. I is equal to 1 means I is equal to 1 velocity vector. Velocity vector as a velocity vector matrix of a velocity vector we are having u, v, w. So the 1 is corresponds to, so rho is u everywhere. J varies. For the first row, J varies from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 is x, 2 is y, 3 is z. Okay. So like that, b, like that. So this is the velocity gradient tensor, velocity gradient tensor, del u tensor, and we can easily show by explaining the physical interpretation that the symmetric part of what is symmetric part of del u gives the rate of strain tensor. So it is the symmetric part of del u that gives rate of strain tensor. We will stop for now and continue in the next class.